This is Mac OS Ken.
Analysts analyze Apple services. The Mac had a huge first quarter and lots of stuff coming to Apple TV Plus. It is Friday, the 28th of June, 2024. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Pen Chalet, selling exquisite fountain pens for over 10 years, with special offers for Mac OS Ken listeners at penchalet.com/macosken. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macosken. Two notes on Apple from Financial Analyst to end the week, both tied to services. Apple 3.0 had BofA analyst Wamsi Mohan doing a deep dive on the topic. Really deep. 32 pages deep. Apple 3.0 boiled that down to 3 paragraphs, which I will boil down further. Starting with AI, the Apple Intelligence access Apple is giving developers will drive improved services growth in the analyst's estimation. The App Store is going to grow despite Apple's DMA compliance in the EU. That's thanks to more device sales, people new to Apple's hardware getting access to the App Store, and new apps leveraging Apple Intelligence. While the EU presents wildcards, the investigation into Apple's core technology fees shouted out among them, Mohan and friends still see upper single-digit growth for App Store revenue through fiscal year 26. Finally, there is still room for growth for subscriptions to Apple's own services, likely due to those new people Mohan's expecting. Mr. Mohan has a buy rating on Apple shares. He set a price target on the shares of $230. Less sexy, more technical in his assessment of Apple's services side is Bernstein research analyst Tony Sacconaghi. Seeking Alpha had the Saccinator commenting not on growth or AI, not much anyway, but on the impact Apple's services side has on gross margins. He and his see high-margin services like advertising, the App Store, and iCloud continuing to grow, and that growth can keep pushing Apple's gross margins higher. Not that it's all about services. The piece quotes the analyst saying, in the near term, we believe recent enthusiasm is likely to persist as Apple is increasingly seen as an AI leader rather than an AI laggard, and the stock is also entering its seasonally strong trading period. Mr. Sacconaghi has an outperform rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $240. The first quarter of 2024 was a good quarter for the Mac. That is the word from market tracker Canalys. 9to5Mac outlines a recent report from the firm. According to that, the Mac's market share in the U.S. grew by 22.4% from January through March, dwarfing the 5% growth for the U.S. PC market as a whole. That 5% growth was driven by consumers and small and medium-sized businesses, according to Canalys, which fits nicely with Apple's growth. Most of that on Apple's side was said by the 9to5Mac piece to be down to the new MacBook Air models released in March. For the PC segment as a whole, things continue to look up. Canalys expects a lot of sales to be driven by the end of life for Windows 10. That'll generate sales for small and medium businesses as well as the enterprise. Additionally, we're starting to hear a lot about this AI thing. According to the firm, anticipated continued growth coincides with greater availability of on-device AI capabilities in the market, with new products and user experiences set to excite consumers and businesses across both the Windows and Apple ecosystems. If you've got an Apple Vision Pro, your best way for watching YouTube has gotten a bit better. Apple Vision Pro still lacks an official YouTube app, explains a 9to5Mac piece. While Google says it plans to launch such an app at some point, right now there are two ways for owners of Apple's headset to go Safari, or the third-party app Juno. That second one is the one that got better. For ease of use, the piece says there's a new interface with faster switching between menus on the redesigned tab bar. The big news, though, is the big video. Not only does the app now support YouTube's 180-degree and 360-degree videos, it actually makes those videos work better. According to a blog post by Juno developer Christian Selig, version 2.0 of the application leverages Apple's Metal engine to perform advanced AI upscaling and take the existing limitation of 4K video and upscale it to 6K, making video feel even sharper and more realistic with over twice the pixels versus 4K. Additionally, 9to5Mac says the app has also been rewritten to run faster, support better window resizing, and even remember your settings between videos. You can also use Apple's virtual assistant to ask Juno to adjust the playback speed or skip to a specific time in the video. Sounds pretty cherry, but will Google think so? The piece raises the possibility that the YouTube owner could torpedo the application. Might be fun while it lasts, though, and worth the one-time cost of $4.99 in the App Store for Vision Pro. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, Pen Chalet, selling exquisite fountain pens for over 10 years. You could have bought a Dell. You bought a MacBook. You could have bought an Android phone. You bought an iPhone. You could write with a Bic, but why? The things I love about Apple are the things I love about my fountain pens. They're stylish, they're distinctive, and they last. I have fountain pens that are 70 years old or older. They work, and they look great doing it. If you haven't held a fountain pen, you may not know what I mean. Well, that is why I worked with Pen Chalet on the starter boxes at penchalet.com/macOSken. Choose between the modern, colorful Lamy Safari pens or the fun, retro, classic-looking Pilot Metropolitan. The starter boxes come with a great pen for all levels of use, good ink, a pad of paper perfect for both, and pen flush to keep your pen in writing form. All of that is bundled and available at a discount at penchalet.com/macOSken. Or think outside the boxes. If something else grabs your eye, you can use code MOK10 for 10% off. Personally, I think there is a fountain pen out there for everybody. Find yours. Head to penchalet.com/macOSken. Check out the discounted starter boxes or use code MOK10 for 10% off other purchases. That's penchalet.com/macOSken. And seriously, a huge thanks to Pen Chalet for sponsoring today's show. We'll wrap the day with tales from Apple TV Plus land, because if it weren't for that news, there'd be practically no news at all today. Just announced with no release date, A l'ombre des forêts, shot in French and full of French people, apparently shooting at French people. Describing the thriller, Apple's press release says Franck and his longtime friends enjoy spending their weekends hunting together. But one Sunday, they come across another group of hunters who start targeting them without explanation. When one of their party is shot, Franck's friends strike back, sending an attacker to the ground. Barely managing to escape, the four friends keep the event a secret. Franck tries to go back to his life as usual alongside his wife, but in the next few days, he starts to feel like he and his friends are being watched, or worse, tracked by hunters who are now hell-bent on revenge. Well, that's really not fair. They started it. No word in the release on when the 6-part series will hit the stream. News of another French-language series for the Cupertino streamer. Or are they having a sale or something? Apple TV Plus issued another press release this week, announcing the fashion saga La Maison, a work of fiction that seems to want to blur that line. The release describes the show, saying a behind-the-scenes look at the contemporary, ever-evolving world of fashion and aspirational French elegance and luxury. La Maison follows two illustrious, dysfunctional, and powerful rival families as they vie for dominance in the cutthroat world of high fashion. The first 2 episodes of La Maison hit Apple TV Plus on Friday, the 20th of September. They'll follow 1 per week through the episode 10 finale on the 15th of November. Coming sooner than La Maison, sort of its exact opposite, Apple TV Plus issued yet another press release this week, announcing a premiere date for the 4th season of Slow Horses. According to that, Slow Horses is a darkly humorous espionage drama that follows a dysfunctional team of British intelligence agents who serve in an MI5 dumping ground department known unaffectionately as Slough House. Season 4 opens with a bombing that detonates personal secrets, rocking Slough House's already unstable foundations. Seasons 1 through 3 of Slow Horses are available to stream now on Apple TV+. The first 2 seasons of Season 4 hit the stream on Wednesday, the 4th of September. The remaining 4 will run 1 per Wednesday through Wednesday, the 2nd of October. And finally today, there is a new kids show hitting Apple TV Plus today. Well, young person show maybe. WondLa, the series based on the New York Times best-selling book series The Search for WondLa, starts its run today on the Cupertino streamer. Apple says the show centers around Eva, a curious, enthusiastic, and spirited teenager being raised in a state-of-the-art underground bunker by a robot caretaker. On her 16th birthday, an attack on Eva's bunker forces her onto the Earth's surface, which is now inhabited by aliens and covered with otherworldly fauna, and there are no other humans to be found. Eva then leads a team of interesting individuals on a dangerous quest to find humans, her home, and her true destiny. Apple refers to the show as an epic trilogy. All 7 episodes of the first season of WondLa are available to stream now on Apple TV+. 2 more podcasts to tell you about before we part ways today. First, I finally got to talk to somebody I have been reading for years on this week's Mac Observer show. Carolina Milanese is an analyst with and president of Creative Strategies. We got together to talk about WWDC, which mostly means Apple Intelligence. Not just that, though. iPhone sales, Genmoji, other AI happenings. It was a really fun discussion. You can hear it on the Mac Observer show, available wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch it on TMO's YouTube channel, youtube.com/Mac Observer. Meanwhile, over on the checklist, brought to you by SecureMac, have you heard about the Kaspersky ban? Gone from the U.S. by the end of September if the Commerce Department gets its way. We'll look at that, plus still more fallout from the Change Health hack, and revisiting the virtual bugs bug for Apple Vision Pro. That is all on checklist number 381. Find it at securemac.com/checklist or wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Pen Chalet, selling exquisite fountain pens for over 10 years with special offers for macOS Ken listeners at penchalet.com/MacOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOSKen. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.